Well, good on you for clicking on this video because we're not going to be talking about a fancy new marketing strategy or a way to sign a whole bunch of clients. I make too many videos on that. In this video, we're going to talk about financial model of agency owners and really just how to manage the money as it comes in to properly allocate the funds so we can properly scale the company without running into cash flow issues or anything along the lines of that. So the method that we use is the profit first method. Now, there's an entire book on this, and I encourage you to read that book. But the three main benefits of it is, first of all, it's going to always encourage sustainable growth and profitability. It's going to help reduce financial stress by ensuring that your taxes and your compensation is always covered. And lastly, it's going to provide a clear overview of business health because you can manage your cash flow much more effectively than if you just load all your money into your bank account, send out all your expenses and just hope to God there's money left over. That's a terrible way of doing business. This is a much smarter, much more efficient way. So the first thing that we do is we set up multiple bank accounts. So we use Wise here, and in Wise, it's really easy to set up multiple bank accounts, and we create one where it's just income, where basically all the business revenue is deposited. Profit, a portion of each deposit is allocated to this account, owner's compensation, taxes, and then operating expenses. So those are the 5 bank accounts that we set up inside of our Wise account. Now, step number 2 is that we allocate funds regularly. So on specific dates, we allocate percentages from the income to each of the accounts. This could be biweekly or monthly, depending on cash flow. Recommended starting allocations may be, and then we'll get into all of that. But essentially what this looks like right here, right? So let's say you make $100,000, right? Well, the recommendation of how we divvy it up, and it's how we divvy it up, is we put 45% of what we make into the ops bank account. We put 30% of what we make into the owner's comp bank account. We put 10% of what we make into the profit bank account. And then we put 15% of what we make into the tax bank account. Okay. Now I'm going to break down what each one of these means and the use cases and what you do with the money when it has been deposited to ensure that your business is always profitable and you can scale efficiently and, more importantly, smartly. Okay. So total revenue, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's the amount of money that you make. So when you close somebody for $5,000, it's $5,000, or I guess 45 or 49 something minus your Stripe fees or whatever that case may be, right? So as that revenue is generated, it's immediately going to be put into your main account, right? As you can see here, this is our main group right there. All the money goes into there. Then once we do that, I don't actually do this, but my business partner will. He'll come in here and he'll allocate 45% of that revenue to operational expenses. And this is for anything related to running the business. So it includes payroll, it includes marketing spend, it includes software, etc. Now, if you're noticing that it takes more than 45% to operate your business, then you have a problem. Okay? If you need to spend more than 45% in the agency space to operate your business, then you either need to increase output of your staff member and let people go, right? If you're spending too much on payroll, well, you have to look and you're like, do I need to be spending all this money on payroll? Do I need all these people? The answer is probably not. So you have to have those tough conversations because your business depends on it. Now, what does this look like? Okay, well, let's say you have copywriters. Let's say you're a copywriter, right? And you do copywriting, and that's part of the stuff that you do. And you're at $100,000, $150,000 a month, and you have 4 copywriters because you have 30 clients or 40 clients, and each copywriter has 10 clients. Okay, well, what you could do is you could allocate all of the knowledge that these copywriters have and all these systems and whatnot, and you could put that into a ChatGPT prompt, right? And you could train a ChatGPT prompt, right? And then once that is complete, you could have one copywriter begin to write copy 5, 6, 7, 10, even 100 times faster than they do already. And now you can have one copywriter that can handle all 40 clients, and you pay an extra, $50 a month in your ChatGPT subscription. You can let your other 3 copywriters go, and you can make sure that your operational expenses stay at that 45%. Or maybe you're spending too much on marketing. Right? Well, in that case, you have to decrease your cost of acquisition. So you have to make better ads, make better offers, have a better sales process. You know that if you're spending too much to acquire a customer, that is where the problem is, right? Or maybe you're spending too much on software. Well, what you can do is you can consolidate softwares, right? I've even made this mistake myself where I have Go High Level, I have Active Campaign, I have like 4, 5, 6, 7 different softwares that essentially do the same thing. when really, Go High Level, for example, could do all of them. Right? So maybe I don't need ClickFunnels. Maybe I don't need ActiveCampaign. Maybe I can just take a little bit of time to learn how to set that all up within Go High Level and then save a whole bunch of money every single month on software expenses. Right? And this is really where the challenge is, right? And this is really where we have to grow as an entrepreneur and get better, because we need to make sure that we can keep our operational expenses around that 45%. Now, maybe you're a little bit different. Maybe it's 55%, maybe it's 30%, whatever that case may be. It's about setting a target. And then as you begin to scale ad spend or scale your marketing budget, you scale it based on, 30% or 45% of your revenue, right? It's the smart way to scale it. Make sure it ensures profitability, and it ensures that you lay a strong foundation before you scale. Now, the next part is the owner's comp, right? This is the money that you pay yourself. However, I recommend that you do not do this unless you need the money. If you need the money, that's one thing. But if you don't, personal income is taxed at the highest rate, and I want you to avoid this at all costs. Fun fact about me: I made 5 times more money last year in 2023 than I did in my 3rd year in business, but I paid less in taxes, right? Now, the reason I did that is because this year or the last year, the money that I made in the business was sent to another corporation, right? Well, in my 1st year of business, all the money that I made was a sole proprietorship. It was all sent to me, and I got taxed at that personal rate, right? Now, owner's comp should be distributed based on equity percentage of ownership. And you have 2 options here. Option A is just to leave the money in the owner's comp account and withdraw only what you need, right? If you have a very good business partner, or if you own 100% of the company yourself, you can just do that. Or option B is to set up a second corporation you own 100% of and send the money to that corporation, right? So what we will do, like what we do here at Catalyst, is that we leave the vast majority of the money just in the owner's comp account. We'll take a small salary every single month, and I'll send that to another corporation just to, cover the bases and whatnot. Next thing is the profit account. So profit money is meant for either investments and or cash bonuses to you. So you have 3 options here with the profit account. Option A is you let the profit account build up and you use it to invest into the growth of your company, right? So that profit account is 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K in it. And you can use that to invest into the growth of your company. You can use that to, look for mentors, whatever that case may be. Option B is you let the profit account build up and then you use it to pay shareholders out in the event of a bad month where you have little money in the owner's comp, right? If you do, let's say you crush it in July, but then you shit the bed in August, right? Well, instead of coming to the end of August and being like, fuck, I have no money in the owner's comp account, I can't pay myself, you can use what you have in the profit account to pay yourself and fund your expenses and all that kind of stuff. And option C is you let the profit account build up and you pay the shareholders a bonus every single quarter, right? So we typically do a combination between option C and option A, right? Now, within that, right? So every 3 months, so at the end of every quarter, what we'll do is, like, let's say there's, whatever, 50K in the profit account. What we'll do is we'll take half of that and then pay that out as a bonus distributed based on the equity that we have in our company. Now, the last one is the tax, right? So the tax account is meant to pay your taxes at the end of each year. Now, it is critical that you set this up, as I know people who spent the money they needed to pay taxes and completely screwed themselves. I know somebody that's kind of close to me, right? And they made the money and they spent it and they da-da-da-da, right? And then the tax bill came and they're like, fuck, don't have the money. Now you have a problem. Big problem, right? You got to pay your taxes. You got to be a good guy, right? If you don't do this, you can leave yourself in a situation where you're vulnerable to that. So it's very smart to just take 15% of your revenue, allocate it to your tax account. So when you get those tax bills, you can pay it. You don't have to stress about it. Now, bookkeeping. Here's my recommendation. If you're less than 25K a month, I use QuickBooks. I link my business to bank account and credit cards. I spend like 30 minutes a month, making sure all is good. QuickBooks has like AI and all this stuff. They do the most of it, a lot of automation, stuff like that. You just spend like 30 minutes at the end of every month, making sure everything's in check. Now, if you're over 25K a month, hire a bookkeeper. Because when you're less than 25K a month and maybe you get billed on ad spend a couple times per month, you have a couple software subscriptions, you have 1 or 2 team members, bookkeeping's pretty easy. When you're over 25K a month and you have 18 different softwares and you have you're getting billed on your ad account every day or every 2 days, like, it gets a little bit messy, right? And so that's why I just recommend that you hire a bookkeeper so you can focus on the things that are actually going to grow the business. Now, when you do this and prioritize profit first by setting aside profit first, the model forces the business to operate with leaner margins, potentially identifying wasteful spending or unnecessary expenses. And that was really what I was stressing here on the operational expenses portion of this. Now, the next thing that you can do is as the business grows, you can increase the percentage allocated to profit and other accounts while maintaining a healthy operating expense level, right? So if you pay your staff salary, right, if you sign 3 times as many clients, right, most of the time you won't have to increase your salaries by 3 times, right? So as you do this and as you continue to grow, theoretically, your business margins should also increase, right? Especially in the agency model. And when you do that, you can, bump that down to 35% and bump this up to 40%, for example, right? And the last thing here, personal money management. And I get asked this question frequently with my clients and whatnot. And what do you do with your personal money management? And I say, fuck it. Until you have about $1 million, right? And anytime somebody asks me like, hey, what should I do with my money? I have like 8K in my bank account, or I have, 26K in my bank account, or 50K in my bank account. Like, you could, allocate 30% of that and put that into the S&P and make 5% and make an extra $2,000 a year. Or you could just not worry about that. You could spend all that time you spent stressing and trying to figure out how to allocate, all that kind of stuff. And you could just learn how to make better ads and make a hell of a lot more money. That's my personal philosophy. Disagree with me, agree with me. I don't really care. That being said, hope you got value out of this video. Appreciate the hell out of you for taking the time to watching. And if you have any questions about this, leave a comment below. I'll see you guys in the next one.